All right. So hello, Alicia. Thank you for helping me with this project for school. We'll go ahead and meet an easy seat here. And before we even get it started with our time in and breath practice here, let's just take a quick look around the room to get oriented and acquainted with our space here. The restroom's over there, and the exits are over there. There's 3 windows in the room. It'll be just me and you here in the studio today, so we won't be expecting guests to come. Although people are starting to wake up and it's a Sunday, so we might hear lawnmowers or cars driving to and past. So if you hear those, just take note of them and we'll keep going, okay? All right, so we'll go ahead and wiggle the toes out, adjust the legs so they're nice and comfortable. Get the seat rooted into your mat. Take a deep breath in. Draw the spine up long, roll the shoulders back. Beautiful alignment. Allow your body to relax, and we'll just start with a few easy breaths here. So just breathing in and out through the nose at your own pace here. And you can allow your gaze to travel towards the floor, or you can even explore closing your eyes, whichever feels most comfortable for you, okay? So breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And once more. And you're welcome to stay with easy breath, but if you'd like to explore the alternate nostril breathing, we're going to go ahead and face our right palm out in front of us. And there's a couple options here. You can see which one feels best for you. So you can tuck in the pointer finger and the middle finger, leaving the rest of them raised. Or you can lower down the ring finger as well, and then we have like play or yellow here, okay? And then we'll face the palm towards ourselves. We'll breathe in through the nose. Breathe out, expelling all the air out. And on your next inhale, the thumb comes to plug the right nostril. Inhale through the left. Plug both. Exhale out the opposite side. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. And go ahead and keep going at your own pace. You can turn your gaze towards the floor and soften, or you can allow your eyes to close and have your focus being on just balancing the 2 hemispheres of the brain through our breath. And we'll go for about 3 full cycles here, okay? Once more. When you get back to the left side of your nostril, exhale fully. Release your hand out, and if you need to shake it out or wiggle your fingers, I know sometimes that creates some tension in my wrist, so. The wind today, sorry about that. We'll give it a name and we'll move forward. So today's focus is around 2 sides. So alternate nostril breathing balances both hemispheres of the brain, but there's a lot of things that have 2 sides. It could be the body, it can be the breath, it can also be sides of the story. Like in our day-to-day lives, if there's 2 people having a conversation, how many sides of the story are there? 2, yeah, exactly. So with that being said, say that we have a disagreement with a friend or anyone in our lives, really. Do we tend to immediately focus on our side of the story, their side of the story, or do we immediately come to a common ground on it? Ours. Yeah, sometimes we tend to focus more on our side of the story. So since we've done some yoga together, have you found anything that might help you see both sides of the story more clearly to help you find a common ground?
just walking away?
Yeah, walking away is a good option. So maybe today during class, we'll explore a situation in our lives in more depth and use some yoga tools to move through it. Does that sound good? All right, so we're going to go ahead and begin today by waking up our bodies. Then we'll do some movement with more yoga poses, and then we'll find a game to play. And then we'll cool down, rest, and release. Does that sound all right? Great. So if you will go ahead and meet me in rock pose, we're going to start with a yoga pose pattern. And I'll guide you through the first two, and then the third round you'll do on your own, okay? So for rock pose, our knees can be together and we can sink our tail onto our heels, sliding our hands forward and lowering our forehead down to our mat. So this is rock pose. We'll take a deep breath in and out here. And on your inhale, you're going to press into your palms and lift into tabletop. Our gaze will be at the floor to start. And we want to stack the wrists underneath the shoulders and wiggle the fingers apart so that we're not dumping onto the wrists here. If we turn our gaze back towards the knees, we want to see that they're stacked underneath the hips and that the shins are hidden. And for additional support here, you can tuck the toes under, lifting the heels. Good job. Lovely. As you breathe in, we're going to sweep the left arm up towards the sky. Our gaze is going to follow the fingertips, and the fingers will be our guide for this. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, thread the needle, sweeping the left arm through the space created by the right, and we'll lower our cheek down to the mat and our right forearm down as well. Gazing forward or allowing the eyes to close for a deep breath in, deep breath out. On your next inhale, we slide the right hand towards us, press into the palm, lifting back up into tabletop. As you exhale, untuck the toes, sink back onto the heels, lowering the forehead down into rock pose. For one breath cycle. And on your next inhale, begin to rise up into tabletop again, tucking the toes for support. And what we do to one side, we'll do to the other side. So now we shift our focus to the right side. Breathe in, right arm sweeps up. Exhale, thread the needle through, lowering the cheek to the floor and the forearm down to the mat as well. On your next inhale, slide the left hand towards you, press into the palm, lift back up into tabletop. Exhale, lower the tail down to the heels, slide the palms forward into rock. So that was our first pattern. Inhale, table. Tuck the toes. Focusing on the left side, breathe in, sweep the left arm up. Gaze follows the fingers. Thread the needle, lower down. Inhale, lift slowly back up into table. Once you found your table, untuck the toes, sink the tailbone down into rock pose. One breath cycle. Breathe in, lift up to tabletop. Our focus shifts to the opposite side. When you're ready, inhale, sweep the right arm up. Exhale, gaze follows the fingertips as we thread the needle and lower down. On your next inhale, slide the palm towards you, lift back up into tabletop. Breathe out, lower down into rock. And so now we'll do one round at our own pace. So the pattern is rock, table, thread the needle, table, rock for both sides. Are you ready, Alicia? All right. At your own pace, breathe in and begin. Maybe allow the eyes to close and just catch up with your breath for a moment. And we're about to begin the yoga pose portion where we move, we get our spines in all directions. And as we meet and rock for this moment, I'd like to invite you to find a situation or a story that you can remember where you were in a disagreement with a family member or a friend. And maybe you were only able to see one side of the story in that situation, and maybe you were more focused on your side. And as we move through this yoga sequence, I'd like this to be your point of reference. And so we'll look at our side, then we'll look at our friend's side. And maybe by the time that we have completed our sequence, maybe we'll find a neutral ground on it. So once you have that story in your brain, go ahead and lift up into tabletop, tucking the toes. As we inhale, we're going to lift the tail up, hugging the belly back towards the thighs into downward facing dog. We'll begin to step the feet forward into a fold, moving towards the top of our mats. The head hangs heavy, and if you'd like to hold opposite shoulders and find ragdoll, you're welcome to. Begin to tuck the chin towards the chest. Breathing in, roll the spine up nice and tall. Good job, Alicia. It looks lovely. Once your spine is tall and tuck the chin, gazing forward. Maybe releasing the hands down to your side into mountain. Nice and strong and stable. Drawing our attention to our feet. Noticing that they're underneath the hips, or maybe stepping them apart to give them a little bit of space here. Rolling the shoulders back. Wonderful. All right, we'll focus on matching the breath to the movement, and remember to hold that story in your mind, okay? All right, as you breathe in, sweep your hands up towards the sky. And as you exhale, tuck the chin to the chest, folding forward, linking opposite elbows into ragdoll. Release your hold, plant your hands on your mat. As you inhale, step the right leg back and lower it down to the floor like a low lunge. We have the ankle stacked underneath the knee on the leading leg. And on the hind leg, you have the knee lowered to the ground. You can keep the toes tucked, or you can lower the top of the foot down to the ground. And once you have your foundation and you feel nice and solid here, you can sweep your hands up above the head. The palms come to touch, and as you breathe out, you bring them to center. And this is where we hold our side of the story. So draw your awareness towards that side of the story. As you breathe in, lift the chest up, twisting towards the leading leg. You're welcome to stay lifted here, or you can move towards twisted dragon. On an exhale, you lower the elbow towards the knee, hooking it. And you can gaze forward, or you can look up towards the ceiling, experiencing optimism and openness on your side of the situation. And for 3 breaths, we'll just reflect on our side. Breathe in, breathe out. Final breath here. After your exhale, come back through center. Inhale, the hands sweep up. And as you exhale, follow the fingertips down towards the floor, folding. Once your hands find your mat, tuck your hind toes under and pop that leg up to a long lunge. Yep, left leg steps back into plank, nice and strong, unwavering. As you breathe out, we're going to lower down, keeping the elbows close to the ribs. When your belly finds the mat, the tops of the feet come to touch the floor. And as you breathe in, lift your heart and your gaze up towards the sky into upward facing dog. Beautiful, beautiful. Rolling the shoulders back so that the chest shines forward. Yes. Inhale. On your exhale, tuck the toes, shifting back into tabletop. And then lifting into downward facing dog. Our gaze is towards the feet. And then we turn our attention towards the hands. And in that space between the hands, we're going to step the right foot through, creating that lunge. So the ankle lands underneath the knee, and we lower the hind leg down. If you'd like to keep your toes tucked, you can. Or you can lower the top of the foot down. Breathe in, sweep the hands up towards the sky. Exhale, hands come to heart center. And we turn our attention from our side of the story towards our friend or our loved one's side of the story. So as you breathe in, we'll explore Twisted Dragon, turning towards the leading leg. You're welcome to stay lifted, or you can exhale, hooking the elbow with the knee, breathing in and out. One more breath here, focusing on their side. Exhale, release, come through center. Breathe in, sweep the hands up. Exhale, fold forward. Gaze follows the fingers. Once your hands find the mat, tuck the hind toes, pop that leg up. Breathe out and step forward into a fold. Maybe linking opposite elbows, allowing the head to hang heavy, and allowing the belly to rest on the thighs. Maybe closing your eyes and reflecting on your side and their side of the story, and how the two sides complete it and make it a whole. Exploring the idea that there's two sides of the story making a whole, and knowing that we need both to have it complete. Tuck your chin towards your chest when you're ready, and begin to breathe in, rolling the spine up tall. When your spine's up tall, the gaze goes forward, releasing the hands to the sides, allowing the eyes to close, knowing that you have the full side of the story now, and an even deeper understanding of the situation. Our hands sweep up. Exhale, fold forward. Our hands meet the mat. Our tails lower down. And we find an easy seat facing one another for our game today. So for today, we are going to play a game called Mirrors. And I know we've practiced it a little bit, but the way that it's going to work today is basically one of us will be the mirrorer, so creating the movements, and then the other one will be the reflection of them. So we'll move nice and slow and easy so that both of us have a turn to copy correctly, and so that we can experience the sensations coming up in our own body, being a reflection of the other person. So Alicia, if it's okay with you, you'll take us from seated to standing, and then I'll take us from standing back down to seated. Does that sound like a plan? All right. So whenever you're ready, I will follow your lead to begin. Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and take us from standing to seated. Beautiful job. Well, thank you for exploring that game with me today. If it's all right with you, we'll move towards the more restful part of our practice today, where we have a moment to go inward and reflect on what we've learned. Would that be all right? Okay, so if we can go ahead and point our toes towards the front edge of our mat. We'll bring the knees together and we'll step the feet out wide, and we'll slowly lower down onto our backs for something called constructive rest pose here. So now that we have the posture down, we'll sweep the hands up tall in front of us, and we'll give ourselves 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down. Crossing at the wrists, we open the fingers up, lacing them together to meet as one. And then we begin to bend into the elbows, threading the needle and drawing the hands towards the heart here. And if it's all right with you today, Alicia, I'd like to give you something called an eye bag to aid in the rest response in our body. Would that be okay? Something you'd like to explore today? Okay, beautiful. Let me go ahead and grab that. And I'll gently place it on your eyes. And then from there, I'll just be seated in easy pose on my mat, giving you room to breathe as I walk us through our meditation, okay? So here comes the eye bag. Feel free to rest and just stay with that easy breath in and out the nose. And then we'll begin. So close your eyes, breathe, and rest as if you're falling asleep. Let go of all thoughts. Just feel your breath. I'll wait for everyone to settle, sigh, melt, while you release any wiggles, movement, and tension. When you're silent and still, I'll know that you're ready to listen. With every breath, you become more and more relaxed. Great. Imagine you have a magic mentor to talk to, someone who knows and loves you better than you do yourself. Someone you can always trust, who cares about your feelings, and who can help you with anything and everything. We'll call this wise, loving, helpful friend your inner advisor. Let them appear to you now in whatever form they choose, an animal or a person, a warm, glowing light, or someone that you know. You may simply feel their presence and not see anything. Accept what comes along as it feels caring and safe. Tell them what's going on with you and ask them any questions for which you are seeking clarity. Listen to your inner advisor's responses. They may come in words or pictures, or just as a feeling of sudden understanding. Consider what they have told you and imagine dealing with your problems as they have suggested. How would you change things? Can you act on their advice? If not, why not? Discuss those considerations with your inner advisor now until you feel you have a new perspective on your concerns and have learned all that you can for now. When you feel complete, thank your inner advisor and say goodbye. Remember that you can meet with them anytime that you desire by simply imagining them with you. Now it's time to come back to the room. Gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, maybe unlacing your hands and allowing them to fall towards your sides again. And wiggle your toes. Take any final stretches that feel good to you on your back or your sides. And when you're ready, you may remove the eye bag and come back to a comfortable seated position at the top of your mat. How do you feel? Good. So now that we have gone through exploring both sides of our body, the 2 sides of the breath, and the 2 sides of a situation in our life, maybe we have some ways in which we can use these practices to help us see both sides of the story more clearly as we move through our day-to-day lives. So, what can we take from class today and integrate into life to start or continue to seeing both sides of the story?
If you breath and think about it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing this practice with me, and I will see you next week.
Thank you.